Okay, hey guys, Sasha here. Anyway, I just want to talk to you today about a small thing that yesterday I was looking in YouTube, around YouTube, and I saw this Koichiben, or what was his name? A guy who basically he studied Japanese for quite a while, it seems, and speaks somewhat. And yesterday, one of the videos I saw, it was actually a pretty old video that I saw beforehand, but he talked about how. Mm, about the notion of people supposedly learning Japanese through anime. So basically, I want to know what you think and make a discussion from it. Since, well, personally, I've been studying Japanese for almost 6 years now, and I basically I started from watching animes basically, but it wasn't so much of a studying process as when later I got these Pingler or other programs around and just studied either by myself or through classes in the university. But one point that seems to be basically I don't watch that much anime, so I can't like be of an alibi, so to say, to people who did watch anime and supposedly learn Japanese from it. But for example, me as a somewhat I somewhat like the morning Musume programs and the AKB programs that are today, like all these idols and whatnot, and all these variety programs that are on the internet, the Japanese ones. And when I was in about from I think 2005 to summer of 2005 until basically until today, I've been watching these variety programs. First started with the morning Musume's Hello Morning, which I really liked when it was back then. And today it continues with AK Bingo or whatnot. And I thought to myself, like, I've back in that time at about the summer of 2005 till somewhat like my second year in the university. So for about 3 years, I was basically mainly just watching the show once a week, every week, and to study and didn't study that much Japanese by my own. But still, after those 3 years, I've noticed that in their process, I've been understanding more Japanese, and I've been understanding more of what they're saying, and at some point actually started to translate these programs because I basically understood most of what they were saying. And I think that basically, first of all, just to mention, these programs were mostly without subtitles. So I usually, at first, I had no idea what they were talking about, but the process was still fun for me because it was mainly not so much about talking, but about different games that they did and whatnot. And basically, in the process, I've been learning more and more words, or just from seeing what they're doing, and more slang and whatnot. And in that case, there's some, let's say, so success in acquiring a language through watching videos and and getting input, a heard input from all these programs. But mm, I think in that case, mostly, well, I started watching these programs back back when I did already know some Japanese. I was in a somewhat beginner, maybe intermediate level of Japanese, and I think it mainly helps with the vocabulary and all that, somewhat. But the process, perhaps after those 3 years, whatever I acquired from these programs, I think if I just studied in that time and acquired language through textbooks or other stuff that for studying Japanese, I think I might have acquired the same things but only in a shorter time. But one thing that does help when you watch it, but again, this like what Koichiben was saying, it's more of a use. It's more of a use as a supplementary material. The fact that through these things, through the programs or through anime or whatnot, even if they are with subtitles, I personally think they are good for your listening comprehension. So if I didn't watch those programs and only studied from textbooks, as long of course it is these textbooks wouldn't have audio material for them. So if I didn't if I didn't watch these programs, probably my listening comprehension would be much less proficient than it is now. So basically, I want to know what you guys on the internet, especially those who have learned Japanese for quite some time and those who can actually say that they speak Japanese to some good level that they can understand or they can speak or they can read and whatnot. So what do you think? Is it possible? To what degree is it possible? And generally, what do you think about the process of supposedly learning the language through programs and through anime and whatnot? And of course, there comes also the topic of immersion, what they call total immersion, where you put basically everything in your life for a certain period of time, or most of the things in your life, would be conducted in the language that you are studying. So in this case, as I'm just talking about Japanese, so you'd be like watching anime, talking to people on the internet, reading Japanese, studying from textbooks and whatnot. But this is a problem with time for most people. So basically, just tell me what you think about it in general, whatever you want, whatever you think is useful, whatever you think is good material to think about. But just no cursing, no calling each other idiots. Okay, so it's all from me. This is probably my first video that I talk about, that I generally talk about and put on YouTube if you actually will see this on YouTube. And anyway, as this start, nice to meet you. I'm Sasha from Israel.